This is 5 on your side at 5. Focused on you.
Tonight we're hearing from the U.S. Attorney for Eastern Missouri about the partnership between St. Louis City and federal prosecutors. It's a move within the new Circuit Attorney's Office to prosecute a backlog of murder cases. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. Our Laura Barczewski sat down one-on-one with the U.S. Attorney, Sailor Fleming, today, and she is live downtown tonight. And Laura, one of the questions, the biggest question is, can these attorneys handle both federal and circuit court cases?
Mike and Kelly, the answer is yes. The federal and circuit court cases that are assigned to these assistant U.S. attorneys will be their primary focus. And they can do that because here at the federal courthouse, they don't have a backlog of cases like some other courts across the country. Right now, the St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office, Gabe Gore, is still trying to dig out from a backlog of cases left behind by the previous administration. As of last month, there were 215 pending homicide cases, some that have been stagnant for years. So to get help, they reached out to federal prosecutors. U.S. Attorney Sailor Fleming says they are able to help largely because the federal court here was able to safely work through the pandemic. They also have the staffing and even this week added 2 more positions to the U.S. Attorney's Office. So far, there are 8 assistant U.S. attorneys helping the Circuit Attorney's Office with primarily homicide cases.
We're already seeing movement in those cases, both out of their office and then with our assistants as well. We're also working, as we always have, very closely with the Circuit Attorney's Office to coordinate our prosecution. So in other words, we're working with their office to make sure that cases are ending up in the appropriate court and that we are efficiently maximizing the very limited resources that we both have. And I think we're going to see a lot of benefit over time.
U.S. Attorney Fleming says the collaboration between all arms of the justice system seems to be improving in the city overall, which is good news. And they may even send more assistant U.S. attorneys over if needed. Reporting live from downtown St. Louis, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
Loved ones are trying to help a 9-year-old after her family was murdered in North St. Louis County. The triple murder-suicide happened earlier this week in St. Anne, and family members across the state are stepping in to assist that little girl. Our Justina Cornell spoke to the victim's aunt who lives in Kansas City.
Justina, what have you learned about the little girl's mom and siblings?
Yeah, Kelly and Mike, so we're told they were beautiful people. The mom, 30-year-old Seychelle Schomburg, and her children, 14-year-old Kieran Stevenson and 5-year-old Ushara Schomburg, were killed by mom's boyfriend. The mom's 9-year-old daughter, Curry, was there when this all happened. Now, earlier this week, police say a fight took place between mom and her boyfriend, 34-year-old Coleman McIlvain. Investigators learned he had a revoked license, he had been drinking, and wanted to take the car out. The chief of police said mom did the right thing by stopping him. He then demanded her to drive, but she refused. That's when police say McIlvain took out his gun and shot her in the face. 9-year-old Curry witnessed all of this and ran next door. Police say he shot at her several times, hitting her in the hand, and then went back inside, killing the other 2 children and himself. Mom's aunt says this is a devastating situation and a big shock to their family. Now they're trying to help Curry.
Obviously, her mental health is going to be a huge priority going forward. And so we just want to make sure that she has all the things she needs throughout her lifetime. This is a lifelong journey ahead. And so we want to ensure that all of those resources go to her.
Now, Curry was released from the hospital, she's in Joplin with her grandma. I'm told she'll need to have another surgery for her hand. The GoFundMe will also help with funeral costs since there wasn't a life insurance policy. Now, if you're interested in helping out, you can head to our website, KSTK.com, and go to the section as seen on TV.
Such an awful story. Justina, thanks. Today, 2 people accused of killing a restaurant owner in North St. Louis were in federal court. LaRob Harris and Michaela Johan are charged with killing Fa Ming Pan back in May. It happened outside his Chinese restaurant, St. Louis Kitchen. Today, Harris and Johan waived their detention hearing. They will be in court again next week.
Murder in Jennings. Antonio Speed is charged with shooting and killing Peter Cooper and injuring a woman on Tuesday. Police say Cooper and a woman were walking to a barbecue on Jendale Court when Speed ran out of the home and started firing a gun at them. Other people tried to help, and that's when the woman was shot. Police say after the shooting, Speed barricaded himself inside of a home for hours. While inside, police say he live streamed on Facebook admitting to the shooting and apologized. He later surrendered to police.
Today, a former Lindenwood University hockey coach accused of child molestation pleaded not guilty to federal charges. James Lambert is accused of producing child porn and taking children across state lines for sex. Lambert is also facing sex charges in St. Charles County and in St. Louis County. Police say one of the victims was a player on a hockey youth team he also coached. And the crime happened inside a bathroom at the Centene Community Ice Center in Maryland Heights. Police found evidence of more victims at his home in Lake St. Louis, and anyone with information on more possible victims is asked to call police.
It's time for the Weather First forecast. Not as hot and not as humid today.
So let's check in with meteorologist Jim Castillo. Hi, Jim.
Hi, guys. Yeah, you know, yesterday was 94, today 86. So that's a good 8 degrees cooler. We'll take it. We need it. Now, the humidity's out there, but maybe just a little bit less than what we had over the past couple of days, and no storm activity out there in a bluer sky. Here's Worldwide Technology Raceway. A very nice evening. And, of course, it's 85 right now in St. Louis. Kansas City, look at that, in the 70s. Chicago in the 70s. So some really nice Midwest weather for July. So that dew point down to 63. Remember, yesterday it was about 70. That's very oppressive. Now it's more comfortable. North wind at 9. Good humidity down below 50%. And clouds on the increase a little bit tonight, 67, so we'll call it partly cloudy. North wind at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Coming up tomorrow, though, another chance of showers and thunderstorms and a marginal risk of severe weather. I'll outline that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, see you then, Jim. About 1,500 people are still without power tonight. That is after severe weather last weekend. Ameren has restored power to the majority of customers. Most of the outages are in the University City area. Closed for improvements is what the sign outside of a Jefferson County park reads, but really it's closed because of fireworks damage. 5 on your side's Tracy Henson has more on what happened.
The Cedar Hill Fire Protection District had only one call for fireworks on the 4th of July, and it was to hear the Northwest Jefferson County Sports Complex. I spoke with Cedar Hill Fire Chief Mick Fisher. He said his department had little to do with the fireworks incident on July 4th. One engine went out, there was no fire to work, they turned off the electric and handed it over to the sheriffs. It's the sheriff's department that is left with the task of figuring out who did this. What the Parks Department estimates is $150,000 worth of damage to the restrooms. Around 10:45 p.m. on the 4th, the Sheriff's Department got a complaint about people lighting fireworks in the bathrooms. When a deputy got there, the people were gone, but fireworks debris was everywhere. A witness told the deputy roughly 20 people were there when the building was damaged. A crime scene analyst is now working on the case. This is frustrating for teams that depend on the park. Ball games have been canceled, moved, and rescheduled as a result. The post on the Jefferson County Parks and Recreation Facebook page has over 50 comments, mostly people commiserating over the situation, but some offering an expensive solution, hiring park rangers. In Jefferson County, I'm Tracy Henson, 5 on your side.